Hello, this is a video to show how to receive items in version 2 of Clio in the cloud. I'm going to use Chrome, but you can use a variety of different browsers to get at the Clio website. So the URL that you want to go to is cliomasslibs.azurewebsites.net/account/login. It brings you up the familiar login with a username and a password. And just like in the earlier version of Clio in the cloud for updating, you want to log in with your library's nickname. It's going to be some shortened version of your library name, and you want to do it in lowercase as both the username and the password, and then click on Login. And you're going to come up with a screen that's similar to what it was in the first place. You've got fewer options than you did in the past. What has happened is that the Perkinses, who are the people who created Clio, have removed a lot of the confusing and unnecessary options from you requesting libraries. So it comes up with borrowing requests, a quick search box, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and a banner down the side which shows you which borrowing requests it's looking at any particular moment. So right now this is looking at Acton's pending borrowing requests. These would be things that have been made, we've requested them, but they haven't been updated to received at Acton. In fact, they possibly have not even been shipped to Acton yet. To limit this just to the ones that are actually on the way, you would click on Shipped, and you'll get a smaller list of the items that are on their way to Acton at this current moment. You could just look at this list and pick off the one you want. You can sort by any of these options up at the top here. So for example, you could sort by title alphabetically from A to Z, or alphabetically from Z to A if you'd prefer. Clio doesn't quite understand about ignoring initial articles, so you'll notice that party time is before the 12 steps and the fourfold sovereignty of God. So you have to take into account that it's going to count the word the as an alphabetical item that should be sorted. But in any case, you could fairly easily pick off the one you might be interested in. So say, for example, that Acton just receives Marshal of King George County, Virginia. Just click on Select in front of that item, and you get a somewhat cleaner version of the record than in the version 1. You've got the Clio ID and the status. You've got the external ID, which is the ILL number, the title, the author, the imprint, the OCLC number, which is the database ID, and the fact that it was borrowed, and we had a note in there saying please ship it to the right place, a lending note saying please don't use jiffy bags, the branch patron. The branch patron is a non-required field now. You can put it in if you want. If you want, it will be visible to us in the MLS office and to you, but not to potential lenders. Over here on the side, you've got Acton information. Let us know if that's wrong. You've got this action box, which let's just leave that alone for the time being. I'm not sure those actions are really relevant to any of you requesting libraries. And you have a print box with a print drop-down, which will be useful. But sliding down a little bit, you have update options, and this is probably where you're going to go next. You're going to click on the plus over here to open up the update options. And since this item is shipped, really the only logical thing that you would want to do to it is receive it. And now the only option that's immediately visible to you is received loan. So you just click on that, and it opens you up a slightly bigger field that says that it was received on today's date from this particular OCLC library and is due on this date for both you and your patron, and so on. You have the option here of putting a library use only restriction on it and of printing a book strap and so on. So you would just click on update and that would update this one to received loan. I don't want to really do this because this is an item that Acton has not yet received as far as I know, so let's not confuse matters. Under other options we have received copy. This is only appropriate when an item is not going to need to be returned. It kind of warns you that it might not be a received copy. So they've kind of hidden away received copy and made it a little less easy to make that mistake of updating something as a copy. If I go back to the list, I'll get my list of things that have been shipped to Acton at the moment. Acton has a pretty short list, but if this was a library that had more items in the works, suppose it wasn't immediately obvious to you that the item was in your list of items that have been shipped, you can search in this quick search box by author, by title, by ILL number. So for example, I just copied the ILL number from something that I saw was shipped and it brings it right up. So you have your option of going to borrowing requests, clicking on shipped, finding the item that's just arrived in the list, or putting in some kind of a search in this quick search box and finding the item that has been received. And again, you would just click on select, get enough detail to be sure you've got the correct item, and then click on update options, received loan, in order to update it to received. Now, I want to show you the book band that you can print, or book strap. If you click up here, you can click on book strap and see what it's going to look like. And you get that the book has been shipped out from Marquette University, the information about the book itself, and the return to is now your correct library information. I know that since I don't have a printer attached, once I've done this, I'm going to be stuck. But if you have a printer attached, you should be able to print your book strap and use that if you want. So updating to received has become pretty simple. It's less easy to make the mistake of saying that an item is a received copy. Now you're just going to find the item on a shorter list, have fewer details, and received loan is going to be your only obvious option. So this should be easier than it was in the first version. Please feel free to contact me with any questions. Thank you. Since I recorded this video, the Perkinses, who are the makers of Clio in the Cloud, have given us an additional option which may prove useful to you. So today I'm going to add a little bit to my video and talk about how you can use this additional option when you're receiving. What they've done is they've given us a place where you can put in the patron's email and send a message from within Clio. So I'm going to pull up a particular request that is something that was requested for Jonathan Reinhardt. Jonathan used to work at the ILL office in Wellesley, and he has waived his privacy, so I'm not going to bother to blur his name. So this is something that is shipped, not yet received, but suppose you were in the process of updating this to received, perhaps it would be helpful to be able to send Jonathan a message at the same time right from within Clio. You can now do that. If you go down below your update options, there's email options, and it works the same way. You would just click on the little plus sign to the right of email options, and then you have an email pull down, and your only option is to email the branch patron. The branch patron is your patron in Clio speak. So it brings up a message form where it plans to email the branch patron. Since Wellesley has chosen to put in his name, that's pre-filled in. You could then put in Jonathan's email. I think I will respect his privacy to the extent of not putting that in there for the world to see. And the subject could be interlibrary loan request. You have the bibliographic information about the item, and you could just put your cursor in here and say this item has arrived, or whatever else you might want to say about the particular item. So I think this could be quite useful from time to time. It's optional, but it could be a useful feature for you, and I just wanted to show you that. And then you would click on Send Email. Thank you.